Coming up, I want to get into this story, too, about Led Zeppelin. Did you see that the band is being sued over Stairway to Heaven, Andrew? Stairway to Heaven, apparently. Last night on NBC Nightly News, they were talking about, actually the CDC, I think, put out a warning yesterday that the Zika virus, much worse than they ever expected, and obviously everybody covered the story, but I saw it on the network news last night. Christine had it this morning. Dr. Ahmad Rezk is a general practitioner at Slocum Dixon, and he's on the line right now to talk about this. They're saying worse than they had originally expected. What does that mean for us up here, Doc?
In terms of the Zika virus?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just means we have to be more careful in the summertime when the mosquitoes are out. I mean, if you're pregnant or you're planning on becoming pregnant, it should be something that you should be more concerned about this time of year.
And this is something, so this disease or virus is transported, can be transported between humans after somebody contracts it. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It can be transmitted sexually, so this is something that they're still researching as well. So at this point, you kind of have to be cautious in terms of exposure and passing it from person to person if you do have it.
I think I used the word transported, meant to say transmitted, but technically...
Right. Transported is more dramatic.
Beam me up,
exactly.
Scotty.
I needed a little reverb when I said transported. But it's, I'm seeing some of these photos, and this is with pregnant women. And the pictures of the children, they have smaller brains, and what I mean, some of the effects are terrible.
Right. The effects are very devastating, especially if you have a mother that's becoming pregnant. But what you have to keep in mind is it can be just as devastating for men because the transmission time is much longer for a man than it is for a woman. It's 6 months for men as opposed to 8 weeks for women. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Are there effects on the people, the host, if you will?
Not really. It's mostly flu-like symptoms.
Got it.
The devastating effects are really for children.
All right, listen, I want to make a transition. What in the hell is going on with these viruses? I've caught this, I don't know, like a neurovirus or whatever you might call it. It involves, not to get disgusting on everybody, but it involves, fatigue, headache in some cases, diarrhea, and offset stomach, and in some cases vomiting. No cold. So that would mean it's probably not the flu, but it lingers, Doc. I've had this for 2 weeks, and I'll go a day and do well, and then the next day I'm down again, and I gotta go to bed. What have you? I'm assuming you've seen this virus through the area,
right? Norwalk virus typically happens mostly on cruise ships because it develops from food that wasn't cooked correctly, and then it spreads like wildfire across people. However, that type of virus, since it's not as common, can linger on for a long time because there aren't really that many immunities out to it.
Right.
And all you really have to do is just get rest and drink lots of fluids. There's not really much to do in terms of treatment.
Yeah, there really is not much you can do, and it's it goes through the schools and it gets brought home, and it's an issue. Back to the Zika virus. When we're making plans, you hear this a lot. The natural. There are a lot of different natural things you can put on the off, and but there's the natural stuff. What do you need? DEET? Is it DEET that is in these sprays? What's the best stuff to use, and what's are there things that might be more dangerous than the mosquitoes?
Well, I mean, at this point, the CDC is recommending that you use any bug spray with DEET and at least 15%. And you need to reapply it every 6 to 8 hours, depending on what percentage is in the bottle.
All right.
And that's really the only thing that's going to prevent you from getting these mosquito bites at this point. Those natural alternatives, they found they really don't work as well as they're labeled.
Some of these things, I see every time we would go to a Little League baseball game, there was a woman sitting in the stands wearing a dryer sheet on her head. And supposedly the dryer sheet was going to keep, but I swear right over top of her head was like a swarm of mosquitoes. It was like they were attracted to it. And some of these home concoctions, I think, well, you said it. They really don't work, right?
Right. They really don't work as advertised. I mean, at this point, the true recommendation is to use a bug spray with DEET and at least 15%.
And what do you say, though? What do you say, though, to the people that are afraid of that chemical?
Well, I mean, it's been tested in terms of effectiveness and in terms of safety, or else it wouldn't be on the market.
All
so
right.
It's really the number one thing to go to at this point.
All right.
I just want to ask, I think we've been told this before, but you spray that stuff on your clothes, right? Not directly to the skin, or am I wrong on that?
Well, you spray it to areas that are
everywhere,
like transition areas. So you don't have to spray it directly on clothes. You can spray it to areas that are exposed and transition areas, like your sleeves and the edges around your pants.
But on skin?
Yes, you can put it on skin.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else with anything like this? This is like, listen, this is without having to pay a copay. You got free questions of a doctor here. I mean, everybody's running to the, I hate to say this, Doc, but you're like, I always compare being a doctor to the guy who has a pickup truck. And
yes,
the minute somebody finds out you have a pickup truck, they always want you to help them move something. And the minute they find out you're a doctor, they always want to ask you questions.
Just come take a look at this.
Yeah,
just come take a look.
At this.
Right.
You're at a
free medical advice on the street.
That's right. You're on the street. You're at a cocktail party. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter. So listen. Also, you're a local guy. You graduated from New Hartford High School, and you get to practice here locally. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it is. It's good to come back to the area, and because I've been gone for about 11 years, so it's been quite an experience to come back and see everybody and see the area again that I've missed for a long time.
All right, Dr. Ahmed Rezk is over at Slocum Dixon and newly arrived, if you will, back to the area.
Right.
So, all right, Doc, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You know the story with Will Smith, and it's just a horrible story. Yesterday we had Ron Mosier on, and a very touching conversation that we had with him. Obviously, this has hit Ron really hard, and so many other people in the area. This is a guy that's done so many good things for this community, and over the weekend, that tragedy that occurred, taking his life at the age of 34. Our reporter in New Orleans, Jonathan Bullington, is with NOLA.com. We're going to talk to him next on WIBX.